If I had to get ISO certified again, knowing everything I know today, I would not start with the standard, and this is where most companies get it completely wrong. Most people open ISO 9001, start reading clauses, and try to adapt their business to the standard. That is a mistake. ISO 9001 was never designed to tell you how to run your business. It was designed to make sure you control it. So instead of starting with ISO, I would start with my business. The first thing I would do is build a real system that reflects exactly how my company works, not a theoretical system, not something written for an auditor, a real system. I would start by mapping all my processes, end to end. I want to see clearly how my business operates, from the first client contact to the final delivery, and for each process, I would define very clearly what are the inputs, what are the outputs, who is responsible, what is the objective, how performance is measured. And this is something most companies skip. They jump directly into procedures without even understanding their own processes. Then I would structure these processes into 3 categories: management processes, technical processes, supporting processes, because not everything has the same role in the business. And if you don't structure this properly, your system becomes messy very quickly. Now, here is something important. At this stage, I am not thinking about ISO at all, and this is controversial, but it's the truth. You should not start with ISO requirements. You should start with your operations, because ISO 9001 does not force your company to work in a specific way. It does not tell you how to organize your processes. It does not tell you how to structure your business, but most companies behave like it does. They try to copy models. They try to follow templates blindly. They try to fit into ISO. That's how you end up with systems that look compliant, but don't work in reality. What I would do instead is build a system that makes sense for my business first, a system that my team understands, a system that reflects how we actually operate. Only after that, I would bring ISO into the picture, and now everything becomes easier, because instead of forcing ISO into my business, I integrate ISO into my system. I take each requirement and I connect it to what already exists: processes, responsibilities, controls. And suddenly, ISO is no longer complicated, because I am not building from zero. I am improving something that already makes sense. This is the opposite of what most companies do. They start with ISO, they build documents, they try to connect everything later, and they struggle. What I am describing is faster, cleaner, and much more powerful, because at the end, you don't just get certified, you get a system that actually helps you run your business. If I had to do ISO again, I would never start with the standard. I would start with clarity, with structure, with a real representation of my operations. Then I would use ISO as a framework to strengthen that system, not replace it. And if you don't want to spend months figuring all of this out alone, we have already built complete ISO systems for different industries that follow exactly this logic. You start with a structured base, and then you adapt it to your business. You'll find them in the link in the description. At the end, ISO is not about compliance, it's about control. And the companies that understand this are the ones that move faster, get certified easier, and actually benefit from the system. Thank you for watching. If you want to see how to build this step by step, make sure to subscribe. In the next video, I'll show you exactly how to map your processes correctly without overcomplicating things. See you in the next video.